back to Rage Across the Internet, your very favorite Werewolf the Apocalypse podcast. I'm not your host, but today I'm emceeing for Porter. We are bringing you Chapter 3, the other half of our chronicle. It's called The Other Half, so yeah. You know where to reach us, the usual. Hit us up on our email. Go to rageacrosstheinternet.com. Check out our forums. You know the whole spiel. You guys hear it every week. I'm sure you're tired of hearing it too. Also, we have our Guilty Bundle that's happening. And we are launching it on our new service called Ko-fi. I believe that's what it's called. Yeah, Ko-fi.com/rageacrosstheinternet. So check it out. We're giving that bundle away for $70. You'll get the whole Guilty. Every single 9 episodes of it. And then also, if you sign up to our Patreon before the end of December, you will get Chapter 1 of our third chronicle, The Hard and the Easy. So if you like what you're hearing when you hear this episode, which is the third of our series, come join us. Without further ado, Chapter 3, The Other Half.
Hey, welcome back, guys. Once again, thank you for donating to the Patreon. And as always, here's your reward. This month, we've got part 3 of our postmortem series.
Woo!
Which is Into the Breach, Chapter 3, The Other Half. You know me, I'm Porter. We've got Joey here.
Hey, guys.
Tom.
What's up?
And Danny.
Yep.
And we're going to go over this sumbitch.
I'm excited. Because these are cool to relive.
No, this has been a lot of fun doing these.
Yeah.
And I've kind of been looking forward to this one.
Okay.
You know, what we talked about, and we'll get to it when it's time, the script. But we talked about the different moments of this one. When I set up the initial, the idea that forward sept where no one had time to babysit or hold hands.
Yep.
That was part of it. The whole Jude Bob Ross thing.
Oh, yeah,
that was at one of those envisioned scenes.
Yep.
And another one of those scenes was supposed to happen in this chapter and was cut.
Okay, I have an idea what you're talking about.
Yeah, we'll talk about it when we get to it.
Okay.
But it was such a strong scene in my mind, and I so badly wanted to do it.
But I understand if it's the one I'm thinking of, I understand
what you're talking about.
Yeah. So, it's going to be fun to talk about, the particulars of it and the whys it was, I think it's a big deal.
Well, I like how on here you have a pregame note about perception rolls.
Yes, and
I don't think it didn't really stick though.
It didn't stick. I think I did it too early. Or
Makes
too
sense.
late. Either it was something I should have done from fucking Jump Street, or something I would try now. And the idea there was I would give hand signals to people now to do perception rolls at intervals where I felt that was appropriate. So that I could point to Danny or do like a little around the world motion and everyone would know to roll the perceptions. And I wouldn't have to stop to say that. I could just keep telling the story. And I could get hand signals back on the successes and just, pepper in the world as we were going.
Yeah, and I think if you had started it out as that way, it would have stuck more.
It probably.
Because that would have been just the way it's done.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like, from what I remember, it sounds like you tried it that way to keep story moving, to keep the pace going. But if we try it now, I think it would have the opposite effect.
I'm over here smirking. I know why it didn't successfully go. Predator.
Well,
I mean, it's kind of pointless. I get to see everything.
Oh yeah, well
that's kind of what waylaid it, I think. Because every time he did that, it was like I got everything. So what's the point?
That probably had a very big part of it.
Probably. I mean,
it did, because with all my benefits and usually whenever you do the perception rolls, I'm in lupus, so I'm getting that -2 diff plus the -2 diff. So it's standard diff 6, I got a 2 difficulty. Guarantee all my dice are hitting that.
No, you're not wrong. That probably was, but I mean, that also would open the possibility that the timing was bad because I mean, you guys were still getting used to your rolls,
right?
And I didn't want to put too much extra shit on your plates while you were still getting used to playing the game,
right?
So either way, it didn't end up sticking, but it was something I wanted to try.
Yeah. Okay.
It works out. Usually I already got my perception rolls ready in my hand to go anyway, because usually I'm the scout now, so I mean, it kind of evolved into we didn't need it.
True.
Yeah.
Of course, now I have a different scale. I already have him factored in for shit.
This is a diff 9 for you, Tom.
Yeah.
Oh,
Just
standard
Tom.
Yeah, just Tom.
Just Tom.
Well,
Yeah.
but when he's scout, he's already
far enough ahead.
that we're not going to do that perception roll.
No.
So it's understandable.
Maybe it should be you make these guys do the perception roll, and I have to actually waylay the information that I get.
Well, I think that's happened before.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I've had to.
In fact, that's happened a fair amount of the
I was
time.
going to say that's happened already a couple times at least.
You know, there's a level of mind speak to the pack that we kind of take for granted, I think,
Yeah,
sometimes.
well,
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, he's relaying all of this. Fucker.
Wow, Tom, that was a really good roll. You got a lot of information on there. Tom. Good job, Tom.
Good
Porter.
job, Tom.
Right.
And Porter, like, God damn it, gave him everything.
And, you know, sometimes I plan for that, too. You know, like, and I mean, this isn't now, but you had a story not too long ago where I was counting on Tom's perception rolls to scare the crap out of all of you when an old enemy showed up in a particular little, little settlement,
Yeah.
And it didn't click for me at first.
right? What am I seeing? Oh my god!
It did for me, but again, I wasn't doing those perception rolls.
Right, but you were hearing about it,
And I
you're
was
like
hearing, and I was
freaking out.
like, yeah, I was, I
Well,
started to freak out.
and Echo was just beyond. She was
Like, okay, there's a guy
shifting.
there.
Yeah, Echo was shifting. Like she was just going through all of her forms, like for what 10 minutes straight. She was like losing it.
Yeah.
So
So put me in, coach.
right.
But that's
I got this. Let me do it.
but that's like 3 Chronicles from now.
Yeah. So let's
Yeah,
we're-
concentrate on this one.
We are on story 3.
Yeah, well, there's a fucking
Marco's
long
not
way to
here
go.
yet.
No.
Right?
So
Long way to go.
there's a little exposition, you know, talking about sleeping in shifts.
Right, where they learn a bit about that.
And, you know, it's like,
And that was just
luckily,
because everyone was on high alert, right?
right, because of, I think, the maggot ooze.
Well, there was that for sure, and if I remember correctly, you guys had already come back from town
Yeah,
and reported about the tunnels you found.
Right.
correct.
Okay.
So there was that issue.
Gotcha.
They knew that there were spirals,
And-
perhaps a full-on fucking spiral pit 15 miles down the road.
Right. That
And-
these just us cubs just found. What are we gonna do?
And our group wasn't asked to guard the, you know, the sept for
In
a
shifts,
shift.
you mean?
Yeah, they didn't
I think
have
it's
to,
probably maybe because they didn't trust us. Not
Just
yet.
turned.
you know?
Right.
They're kids. Like, my thing is, would you know, like, unless somebody came up and was banging pots and pans, like, level of getting your attention, would you know something was wrong?
I think at that level of our when that was happening, no.
Yeah, like,
it was days. We were
like people could just pop out of the Umbra and be like, haha,
right.
and you wouldn't know.
Right. And yeah, so you know they woke up to see at least Butchers in the Shadows, Whiplash, and Jude kneeling over a map, which had the tunnels. So they had the tunnels that you guys reported, and then some other markers on the map. You know, some
Landmarks or something.
well, suggested perhaps. You know, it was a different color marker extending those tunnels threefold, I believe, according to the script. You know, and whether that was confirmed or speculation of the tunnel's reach,
Mm-hmm.
I don't think was ever said. But now that, if I recall, was one of the times you guys didn't get involved in that.
Too young.
Yeah, we were. I think it was more of like we were curious, but we were also kind of shushed away. Like,
Why?
the big boys are talking. Go do this.
You're right. Well, Haya did grab you and go,
Or
hey.
or that was my next question. I mean, it's been a while, so I don't remember exactly. Or did we get curious when we go to look, and then Wyatt grabbed us first?
Well, yeah, that's the thing. Is it's one of the things I do. And you guys can see in the script. I have a couple options there. You know, where if the group tries to approach, well, Haya will stop them.
Okay.
I don't think you tried to approach though.
No, we
I
didn't.
think, I think you guys both agree that this isn't.
Nope.
It's
But the
above
big
our-
boys.
We
did
have
the work.
nothing. Yeah, we have nothing to contribute
Yeah,
here,
this is above our pay grade. Let's not
Yeah.
get in their way.
which I thought was
That's-
interesting.
Well, I like how in the script you have Dax's full name.
Yes, Omar the Unorthodox.
Yeah, it's like the first time I saw that and I was like, who?
I think it's the only time that's ever been put in print.
Yeah,
I
I
Ever?
think
was
so.
like,
Just
who?
docs.
Yep.
I'm like, oh, docs. Oh, now that makes sense.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Because even like when we got the script here and we were reading it, I'm like, wait, who the hell's that? Oh, okay, got it. Even in game, we've never heard of that. I don't think they've ever
No.
told us.
No,
Just docs.
it was. I think.
Unless-
I think it was said once.
Unless
I think
Wahaya
once.
said it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's the kind of thing he would have said. You know, he would have used the full name, but
Yeah. I don't
No
even
one
recall it. He's just docs.
yeah, he's just docs.
And Docs is always weird saying without Dooley at the end of it. Docs
Right?
and Dooley.
Yeah, it's always Docs and Dooley. It's never Dooley and Docs. It's Docs and Dooley.
Yeah, Docs and Dooley.
And I can't say Dooley without getting his voice. You notice that? I
Yeah.
don't think I've ever said his name without just doing the voice.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, it's Jim Dooley.
Jim Dooley. Which hearing Jim in front of it's always kind of weird too. But hey,
That's how I found that voice. I was living in Boston, and I was working on the script or whatever, and I decided I was hungry, so I just drove out to get some drive-through or whatever, and I'm just practicing voices like a psychopath, just talking to myself in the front seat, just like hello, whatever.
Well, thank God you weren't sitting in the back seat.
Well, that'd have been impressive.
That's very
that's impressive if he's driving too.
And then just also
Those aren't his feet on those pedals.
Oh,
We did that episode already.
yeah, we did. Yeah, and it's just at some point it's like, yeah, Jim Dooley, good to meet you. And I'm like, oh, I liked how that sounded.
Yeah.
Like I can like the yeah.
Were your windows open? When you were
Probably.
Tell me you ordered your
Probably.
food in that voice.
Well, I absolutely did.
Nice.
That's something I try to do. I will order meals in a character's voice. You got to practice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
That's
got to make that
hilarious.
sound natural, or at least good enough.
pull up to a
I say
stop
good
sign
enough,
or
but-
pull up to a stoplight in the car next to you. Like, why does that guy have like 12 different voices?
It's like freak's talking to himself. Don't pull up next to him at this light.
If that's the weirdest, the fast food drive-through window person
I
has
doubt
seen,
that's the weirdest.
they're having a good day.
Mongo need Big Mac.
Got any case of dillas in there?
Case of dildos.
Okay.
What the hell do you eat?
Well,
Well, I think we know now.
Oh my god.
Okay, so the others went to get food in the script.
okay,
Yes.
we're back to scripts. Got it. Sorry.
Yeah.
Food, yeah, food.
We need food. Anyway, so Docs comes back to the campsite and he moves towards the group that are
Yeah, that are around the map.
okay.
Which again, I thought would probably that they'd have tried, but
Getting
They
us.
didn't.
they didn't.
They
so
didn't. Okay.
Again, I think it was above our pay grade. Let's not get in the way.
But there's that level of you guys are the main characters. I've always said that the world does not. The game might be about you, but the world doesn't revolve around you. The game's about you though. So like you see the next part here, I have in parentheses if they listen in.
But did they?
I don't think they did.
No, I don't think we did.
I think.
Because like he's saying, it was above our pay grade. We didn't realize how the game worked at first.
Yeah, I think that's a big part.
Remember, all of us
Oh,
were
yeah.
brand new.
Yeah, I think we were kind of waiting for Porter to lead us there.
Yeah, Porter needed to softball it to us.
Not show us the way and we do it. I think we were waiting for him to take us there. Does that make more
Gotcha.
sense?
No, that makes more sense.
Yeah, we needed a couple slow pitches at first.
And hey, I mean, it was your story three.
Story 3, yeah.
So did you give them that even though they weren't listening in?
I don't think I did.
Nope, he didn't.
So it was just like, okay, guys.
Yeah, because when I was rereading this, I'm like, I don't remember that.
And
Oh, hey.
because you guys
okay.
just went for food.
Yeah, I think we did just leave.
Maybe we got that information later though.
It might have been brought up later, but I can't verify that.
Right,
And
it's been a long time.
I feel pretty strong that you guys did not listen in because I was always surprised by how much you guys respected the privacy of others in this game.
Right?
So
Like the
what was-
Ragabash is very concerned with this man's personal space. We've got to cure him of that shit.
Yeah, right?
So what was the information that we essentially didn't get?
You got that script?
No, I don't.
No, he doesn't.
Well, he doesn't have page one.
No,
but-
page 1.
Yeah.
Oh, it's it's Docs. It's not a hive. It's not a real one. I couldn't get the numbers, but no more than 20. Tunnels go for a while, but I don't think it's the source. Just the same, we should take care of this, whenever, wherever, and all. I don't see anything we can't handle.
It's I still think of that stupid Shakira song. I'm sorry, I can't help
It's
it.
fine.
Yeah,
And then
no,
Butcher.
Tom's right. I don't remember that.
Yeah, we didn't get that information at all.
Yep. And then Butcher responding with, "We'll gather at sundown and move from here." He looks
That
at
I
the three
remember,
of
but
you.
I think it was they were done with the meeting, and then now he's addressing everybody there.
Yeah, he looks at the
We've
three
got
of
our
you.
plan. This is what's going to happen.
I'm pretty sure we fucked off and was hanging out with Wyatt for a
Yeah,
minute.
you clear, don't be late. You know,
But when
sundown,
they
don't
were
be
doing
late.
their meeting, I think we were just over there asking Wyatt questions. I don't remember what we were doing.
That's entirely possible.
Because, hey, we need to learn. We're Cubs.
But either way, you did eventually make your way to go to breakfast, and now that script is valuable.
Thanks.
Okay, so the second page of the script is when they're going for food.
Yep.
Yeah, they've got their sandbox time
Okay.
to really do as they damn well please, but that's when we really go into Cage Breaker.
Yep. And that was the contact.
Right, that's Jude's guy.
Yeah, contact that we were told to meet from Jude. That was our instructions.
Yeah, his what did he call it? his third party guy. He
Yeah,
brought in.
yeah.
Consultant. That's what
Yeah.
The
it was.
consultant, right?
Consultant.
The
there you go.
consultant he brought in because he doesn't trust the Actina.
Yes. Yes, I remember that. Actually, you know, I think that was from the last story, too.
We saw him walking the road at one point. The last story.
Yep.
Right.
Remember that? And then,
No, I'm talking about the last story, as in that's when Jude said he just doesn't trust the Actina.
oh yeah, that was well. He during that
Yeah.
whole speech with
Yeah.
yeah, he wants to bring in this consultant, but you're going to meet him organically and
Right.
befriend him because they're not gonna. They have no
Yeah.
reason not to trust you. They won't believe you, but they'll believe this guy. They just won't trust me. And if they know he's with me, they won't trust him.
Right.
Yeah.
That's a fucking...
It's distrust by association.
Exactly.
Yeah, look at
So
that,
he's credible with two people who don't have an agenda because they don't know any better.
yeah. But only that. So yeah, so Cage Breaker.
Yes.
And the script, it has a voice note.
Yeah. Yes, it is. I'll do that sometimes when, like Cagebreaker was never going to be a character. Like, you're not going to find him in the Embassy of the Month Club. You know?
He was just a filler.
Yeah, he's got a purpose. His purpose is to be around briefly and never again. So it's his background, whatever I come up with on the fly, and it doesn't give a shit beyond that because it doesn't matter.
But see, I remember exactly what you said because we even asked how he got his name, and so all that came up on the fly.
Probably. I mean, unless it's in the script here.
I don't know if it is. I don't think
I don't think it is.
It
So
isn't.
he was. Let's see if I can remember correctly. He was a lupus bonar thurge, and how he got his name was he was captured by animal control, and then broke out of his cage. So, something along those lines. Again, this is a fucking long time ago.
Oh, it makes sense.
It fits.
Cagebreaker, boom, there you go.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. Yeah, but again, at that time, because you were essentially folding him in to make him part of our pack.
I was steering you in that direction, yes. That,
So we didn't know
wasn't
this was
official.
going to be a brief thing.
Right. Well, so you got to make it work, but
Right.
I don't need a fucking diary entry on him.
Right.
Because who's Cagebreaker?
Right.
Just some dude.
Right?
Yeah, but at that time, especially because
Right.
he was, leading us that direction to make him part of a pack, it was a big deal.
But going back to your point about the voice, what that is, and the note here is it's you have the dialogue and in parentheses, a voice, and a quote here is, "You don't want to hang with no Eddie Kane," which for me is a memorable line from, I think the movie's called the Five Heartbeats.
Okay.
I mean, it's just a movie, about like a band, Motown kind of band coming up, and Eddie Kane was, I guess, the first singer who got into drugs, and like later in the movie they find him again. He's like, "Yeah, you don't think we know Eddie Kane," and I remember that voice that way.
Oh,
So it's just a
okay.
reminder of how to speak with him.
Because I was like, what in the world is this referencing?
Yeah, it's just an association to make sure I didn't forget the voice on the day.
Gotcha.
Referencing something just for him.
Yep.
Well, and Eddie Kane
Which,
Is another
isn't it,
character.
again, I homage that name later in Albuquerque, yes.
Right. So I was like,
Say
wait,
it
is
sounded
this
familiar,
guy?
but I don't remember
Yep.
that
Is
one.
this guy like linked to Eddie Kane in some way? I'm like,
I mean, it is, because it's the same character. I took his voice for this guy, took his name for that guy.
gotcha.
It's like I'm on the chop shop of old 90s movies.
This is why you can't look at his maps.
Right.
Until we do postmortems on him.
No, this isn't why. It's because inevitably you walk by and you see like the one sentence that spoils the whole fucking story.
Well, I know,
You know,
but
because
I'm
that's just how that
saying-
works.
But that would put her in a tangent all day long if she walked by and happened to see that.
Yeah, it's true.
That would put her on a tangent all day long.
Yep. When it's an innocent fucking thing, just
Right. But
you know,
like
sometimes you name a character after a thing. It's no big deal. You know, as long as it's not like Martel Mortzenegger, they're probably safe. You know,
And the bad guy is Jean-Claude Villan.
Jean-Claude Villan,
Oh my god, you hack!
Expendables 2,
Yeah.
Expendables 2.
yeah.
Oh boy!
Jean-Claude Van Damme played Jean-Claude Villan.
Wow, I did not know
you
know
didn't-
that. I've seen the movie. I just didn't realize
I'm
that.
almost positive I saw the movie with you.
Probably.
We went to the theater.
Shockingly, he was the antagonist.
Oh, you saw that in the
What?
theater?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
I'm almost positive I went with him.
Oh.
I'm going to call that about the company and not about the quality of the film.
Right?
He went skiing. Get it?
Oh boy.
What the fuck?
So,
Not entertaining
Wow.
that one.
so yeah, that's what that voice note is about.
Okay. So then you have the description of Cagebreaker,
Yep.
and it's just your general, bonar.
I would say so. I mean, it's nothing
Yeah.
spectacular. I know that I made a point
You
to touch
definitely-
upon the odor.
Okay. And I think that was you kind of expressing how the bonars are supposed to be.
Sure, and
Like
also keeping in
homeless.
mind that. Well, I mean, I think the description of itself, the ragged stuff, and it's torn. He's got soiled
Soiled.
sweatpants, and he's got layers on. And that's all well and good, but there's first of all the option that you guys might not all be inhabited. So you need to focus on that sound. But that's also important. It's a thing you forget because, again, we as humans don't focus on a scent, but that's still important to Gara.
Right.
So, I made the point of, what was it?
Body odor, ball sweat, and rotting food.
There you go. Body
Yay.
odor, ball sweat, and rotten food.
That's a smell.
Yeah, don't.
Those are 3 smells.
That's
But
a,
they
it's a
all
lovely
got
bouquet.
That's a smell.
That's a bouquet
Yeah.
right there.
Ugh.
It's ode to Vom.
But I like how he's wearing a rainbow belt that doesn't match anything.
Why would it? He pulled it out of the same. He pulled it out of a
Right.
I
trash.
just say it's
You know,
whatever he
exactly.
found in the trash bin.
But again, that was the point.
Salvation Army donate box. Who knows?
Yep.
Well, he's a lupus, so maybe he didn't know.
And then there's this wonderful description of a rather odd compound bow.
Not just a bow, but he had 2 weapons.
Mm-hmm. Fang dagger.
Yep. But the Fang Dagger didn't get the same attention the bow did.
Yeah.
And the reason for that, is because our guy Tom here took some points in fetish. And that means you're supposed to start the game with a fetish. But that's not how that works.
Right.
they-
Because they started their game as humans,
Right.
or as,
Yeah.
as children, fucking put in medically induced comas or whatever in the back of a van. So I felt like the Spirals probably wouldn't give you an arsenal for that.
That's fair.
You're like, here's your fetish, young sir.
So taking those points in fetish was more of an IOU than it was,
Gotcha.
so I made a point to describe this bow.
I mean,
Kind of tipped me off a little.
I was gonna say, did you catch up on it? Because I didn't.
It was a little wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
It was, and it was, intentionally so.
Right.
I mean, and you did the dagger too, but yeah, not nearly as much attention to it.
No, that's true. But I mean, at the end of the day, and maybe this is a bit of a cop out on my part, the bow was homemade. The Fang Dagger is a Fang Dagger.
Right.
There are several books
Yeah.
and plenty of pictures if you want to see a Fang Dagger. The bow was something I made special.
Still used to this day.
Not all of it.
The bow is.
Didn't you replace the bow?
No. Did I?
think you had to replace the bow.
I
at
had
one
to
point.
replace the bow, but the string is still.
You kept
Right.
the string.
Yes.
Well, the string is the fetish.
Yes.
Right. The string is the
Yeah, because I
feather.
restrung it on homemade wood.
Yep.
Yeah, instead of it being a compound bow, I restrung it onto actually wood that was carved.
That's a Bookman, wasn't it?
Yep. Yeah, because the compound broke in something. I don't remember why.
Yeah, I don't remember why, but yeah, the compound
Yeah.
had to go.
Yeah, I think you were just, at that point, knowing it was going to happen, you kind of worked with Porter, discuss what your character would have.
Right.
But yeah, we pointed out the carvings of it, how the quiver. I gave it the whole nine. And you guys, you kind of gravitated. You were kind of right there with Cagebreaker.
We
Oh,
like
yeah. Yeah, it was a cool character. And you were leaning heavy onto putting him into our pack, so we did, I think, almost immediately.
Well, here's the thing, though, is he was very different than the other Garu that you guys had met before. Because he was, first of all, a Bodnar.
Mm-hmm.
He was very down to earth. He was professional, but he was down to earth. Mm-hmm. And he was meeting you guys on the level. You were meeting him back on the level.
Mm-hmm.
And that was important. I think you guys gravitated toward the more,
More
the
level-headed.
real person, as opposed to Whiplash, who's growling at everyone all the time, and Jude, who is like, measuring you for the puppet strings, and
More of the coffins.
and Wahaya, who just wants to set you down and read you bedtime stories, and this was someone who would talk to you like someone, at the shop.
Right.
Yeah.
Liked him so much, I treated him to breakfast.
I remember that.
Yeah.
They were not happy having him in there.
No,
Oh.
I don't wonder why.
Right?
I think it was the smell.
Maybe.
Okay, so it says that Cagebreaker knows that it's not a true hive.
So Cagebreaker had this information already.
Yeah. I mean, he had been there. He got there before you did.
Yeah. Okay.
And that it's not related to the larger problems in the area, but it's still a good idea to get rid of them. So what are the larger problems in that area?
Well, and they were still figuring that out.
That was the mystery so far.
Okay. And then the script goes on and says the Bane.
That was probably
Which was
the
what we were
problem.
the larger problem.
Okay.
And again, you say the dialogue there's, I don't know what it is yet, but I found it.
Okay.
So he knows where it is.
He just doesn't know what it is.
Okay, so it's a Bane,
Well, the
That's
bait is a
caused-
spirit in service to the
right.
worm, so
but that's what's causing the quote larger problems?
yes.
Okay.
Something real old and nasty. He knows where it is, doesn't know what it is. And like he says,
Gotcha.
after the deal with the spirals, he'll take him right to it, no big deal.
But we gotta deal with the spirit, or not the spirit, the spiral hive first. Or at least the mini hive.
They're already going after it, it's the easier threat. It's the lesser threat.
Mm-hmm.
You can take care of that. Maybe you all die on the other thing, but this thing you can take care of first, right?
Let's go take care of the thing.
And and then what you see here is you see examples of some of the dialogue that was going to come up during that breakfast. In terms of the Bane, is a bit where you could talk about fetishes.
Gotcha.
It's just topics of conversation that are likely to come up.
Okay.
Whether they do or not, it's just sample dialogue for me.
Right.
You want to have something in the chamber, even if it's a little bit to get you started, just in case.
So at that point, did we make him part of the pack there?
I think so. I think we made him part of the pack and brought him back when we were bringing
Yeah.
him back because, hey, we trust this guy.
Right, which was right, what you told you to do.
Right, but we had to make him part of the pack for the rest of everyone else to allow him to come with us, I guess.
Yeah. Well, you had to vouch for him, essentially. Which, I didn't stink a worm, and
It's another
the calm
set of
endorsed it.
clause.
Yep, the
Yeah.
calm endorsed it.
Yeah.
And I think that's what pushed it over too. Is that once the calm endorsed it,
Imagine that, though.
and then which obviously he did on purpose because he wanted him there. So if once Jude, because it wasn't just the calm, it was just Jude. Once Jude endorsed it, everyone was okay with it. Wahaya, Whiplash.
And it made sense, too. Because, again, remember, this is a forward sept, a temporary sept of people here to do a specific fucking job.
Yeah.
And then, oops, we have 3 baby shit cubs we found on the side of the road.
And hey, look, a babysitter
Exactly.
for him. Yep.
Exactly.
Yep.
A babysitter. Throw him with the bone gnar. Fuck it. It wasn't a hard sell.
That's right. No, I get it.
He doesn't spell like a spiral. He take him. Take the kids. Fine.
Yes, please. Please take the children.
Do you know poison control number? Who gives a shit? They're your problem.
They can soak it. They'll find.
If they don't, I don't care.
Yeah, exactly.
Now it's your fault. No, you killed those cubs, Cagebreaker.
Nice.
Okay, so then it goes to the camp at night. Is that still, like, topics of conversation, or is that when we're getting down to brass tacks?
That's where we're getting back down to brass tacks.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know, and essentially at that point, they were told to be back at noon. They had the time to do whatever the fuck they wanted to. They spent, I think, almost entirely with Cagebreaker. Hanging out and traveling back and forth, I believe.
I mean, we were getting like it was just like they were probably
We're
just
gonna learn our new
softball
pack mate.
questions. Right? Yeah, we were learning. Yeah, we got a new pack mate. Cool.
Yeah. No, there was nothing wrong with it. I mean, just good character interaction, and you had the free time to do with what you wanted to. Which is the point of leaving that space.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, you want to have room to let your characters be characters.
Yeah.
Yep.
You know, I think all too often you run into a situation where a storyteller paces something so quickly, there's no fucking room to breathe. Mm-hmm. And, you know, and I ask you about your character, and then all you can tell me is like stats and equipment and shit like that. And I haven't heard anything about a character.
Or what they've done.
Right. You
You
know.
know, this flippy doodle stabbing that thing.
Yeah,
You
I
know.
killed 6 spirals and I freed the 7th generation. Right, but would you when you go home? What do you mean?
That's one of those things you advocate. Get out of Cardboard Town.
Exactly. No more Cardboard Town, man. You went home and watched Moonlighting because you have you got a thing for Bruce Willis. That's why. You know, but that could be a real answer. You know, that's something with some character that shows some personality, that there's a person behind the fucking dots on a sheet.
Right.
Dots on a sheet is horseshit.
Yeah, those should come last.
Absolutely.
I think that because we were trying to remember, we were learning everything we could from Cagebreaker. It's a brand new character. He was down to earth,
And he was willing to talk to
and he
you.
was willing to talk, and he was giving us answers, not just some bullshit like, okay, yeah, here's your answer, get the fuck out of my way.
Right, or do what I say because I said it,
Right.
or fuck off. Or good to see you, but I'm trying to get my dick sucked. Here's $50, go away.
And that was audio, actual
And
audio.
the camp
pretty
at
sure.
night is when you wanted to put that tidbit in there, isn't it?
Yes, yes, it is.
Yep.
Yeah, because Dempsey's talking to him about the spirals.
Yep, he explains, their origins a little bit, gives, a little bit of flavor on the spirals, what they're getting into. Where Wahaya, who is not going on this raid,
Well,
and that's step one.
yeah.
He's not going.
Did they say why?
Well, because he's like 40 pounds and like 900 years old.
Well,
He's not even, he's like 45. There's no reason. He's an able-bodied fucking Garu.
Oh,
Wasn't
really?
he
I
saying
thought
he wanted
was
to
just-
meditate more on the Bane?
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's what it was.
He wanted to meditate more on the Bane.
And then,
no.
yeah, and then he's like, hey, he suggests that the Cubs stay behind and he can tell them more stories of the nation.
No.
Now, in the game itself, you guys were given a choice at that point.
Okay. Yeah.
And you said, no, we're going to go fight.
Right?
And that question irritated the piss out of Whiplash, who this whole time was very critical, when you use that word critical,
Oh yeah.
of Wahaya and his methods, right?
Disapproving.
I like disapproving.
To
I
say
mean,
the
I mean,
least.
this is a fair assessment.
Yeah.
You got to say it. You can't just nod at the mic. Mr. Dixon, ladies and gentlemen.
We are getting the parts for the cloning tubs. So you
Fine.
better be
I'm
careful.
safe for right now.
We're not on camera yet, I'm saying. It's like the nod won't register.
Anyway,
Yeah.
Jerk.
stop pissing off our Patreons. Come on.
I think they're enjoying that.
Yeah. They probably watched you nod your head too. They're envisioning you nodding your head.
That's probably.
I was going to say.
That's
I was
the
gonna
one
say, do we have a
problem.
peeping Tom over here? What's going on?
I don't know. Do we have a peeping Tom?
Well, so anyway, but this was the moment.
Yeah, Whiplash does
Originally.
not like the fact that one, he wants to stay behind, and two, he wants us to stay behind.
Right. That's
That's a non-starter.
you called us here to do your dirty work. Why you sit back and have a nap around the fire? And now this was one of the moments when I was coming
Yeah.
up with this whole thing. This was the moment where things came to a head.
Yeah.
And
this is
originally-
exactly what I thought it was. Yeah.
Whiplash leaps over the fire and starts beating on Wahaya.
It makes sense.
And I mean, like, beats him within an inch of his life. Right there, just about beats him to death. In Hamid. He's had enough. And, you know, I envision at that point that the rabies and chains start to get involved because, hey, Ron over there is not going to let someone hurt Waya.
No.
And so now Ron is being stonewalled by the rabies and chains, except for Butchers of the Shadows, who's standing in the background looking over at Jude, waiting to get a nod to decide which side they're going to be on. With you guys in the middle of this chaos.
So the Shadow Lord is just kind of watching.
Waiting to play his move.
Yeah, they're
They got to figure out what side to be on.
yeah they're deciding which card they're going to play, if they're going to play at all.
Exactly. And then at that point, you know, I made the point with Butchers and the Shadows and Jude to really establish that they have a connection. You know, they have a relationship here. That the beta of this pack is going to let his alpha attack an elder and stand there and wait till the alpha of another pack gives him a nod.
Yeah.
But
I mean, think about that. That's... What?
yeah,
Shadow Lordy.
That's a significant thing.
but at the same time, that didn't happen.
No, it didn't happen.
None of that happened.
And I cut it, and I hated to cut it.
But
Because
I
thought,
understand why.
well,
We're getting to that.
we're getting to why. You know, to me, it just was such a beautifully brutal moment
Yeah.
that spoke of the darker side of the Gyro Nation in a way that I don't usually write.
It,
The infighting.
it has an elegance to its violence.
Thank you. You know, that and when you look back, you see I was building up to it the whole time. You know,
I see why you
Whiplash.
kind of pulled it out of there, though. We were too new to this. Not enough research into it. Like, as we sit now, that is beautiful. You should have did it that way.
Thank you.
But,
Right.
but as we were brand new to that, that would have probably freaked us the fuck out. Or just,
Not only that, but it would have forced us to pick a side.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think it would have ruined Whiplash for you guys forever.
Yeah.
Yeah, you would never see Whiplash the same again.
And even as you grew as characters and into your roles in the Gyro Nation, I don't think that your characters, had I put that in, look back at that moment and let it go. Or understand.
Yeah.
And especially when you consider how the Chronicle ends. And we won't spoil that because that's next month. But when you factor in how it ends, you see how that scene would have ruined the rabies and chains for you guys forever.
Yeah.
And, you know, everybody thinks Whiplash is a psychopath.
Well, Whiplash is
He's really not.
kind of.
He's really not.
He has a perfectly crafted exterior portrait that he portrays. And it's a defense mechanism to make everybody think he's a psychopath.
Okay, you take that.
But he's really... Every crazy psychopathic thing he does is for the benefit of the Cubs.
Is a
General rule.
As a general rule, yeah. It's all it's
a-
window dressing.
Yeah, and it's a tough love kind of...
Oh, tough.
I mean, he's not going to be easy on Cubs, but guess what? The world ain't easy.
You know, there's a story I wrote, which is eventually we've talked about.
Yeah.
I'm going to rewrite it. We're going to share that. Probably record that on Patreon. Maybe have people read parts for it. We've talked about this.
Right.
Where it's his interactions with the character Jamie Moonsong. And she has flashbacks to her trading under Whiplash. And when I say trading, I talk about these horrific moments of torture to anybody else.
Yeah.
You know, like he's cruel and he gets darkly racial at one point.
Yeah.
You know, like he puts the noose over her neck because he pulled her out of bed in the middle of the night. And he's like, you know.
And it's crazy and it's dark.
Yeah,
but-
and I tried to make it very creepy, like fucking disturbing is how I tried to write it.
Yeah.
He gets right to the edge.
Yeah. And again, even there's a purpose to it. And it's like the thing that they don't see is that like he goes and throws up in the woods after that.
Yeah, but they don't see that.
Exactly. They can't see that.
Yeah.
Because if they see it, it's all for nothing.
The jig is up. And I think if this scene had happened the way that you wanted it to happen, it would have fit into Whiplash, but it would have scarred the Cubs.
Oh, for sure.
I wouldn't see Whiplash the same.
Yeah.
Like I said, he's kind of like a mentor. I look up to him big time, but I don't think that would have happened. It wouldn't be the same.
Yeah, you would have witnessed him just,
Yeah.
again, beating this old guy almost to death.
And when you say old, it's like you said, 40s.
Sure, but, you know, there's a 20-year age gap.
Right.
Yeah,
You know?
And, you know, I mean, it's understandable with him being an Akron, you know.
And and then you think about this as, you know, the character. All Whiplash wants to do is guard his sept.
And he's being taken away.
Yeah, to protect the elders he reveres.
And he's being taken away
Yep.
to do some idiot's dirty work.
Yeah, to do apparently nothing so far.
Right.
They've done nothing except for babysit these cubs and watch him take naps around the fire. Which, meditate, fine. You know, yeah, there's a purpose behind it. But what are they doing there? This is a waste of our time. It's endangering our people back home. Mm-hmm. This is beneath us. And now we're gonna finally go do our jobs.
Yeah,
And you're gonna stay here and pull from our numbers.
Yeah, because when I imagine
To be fair, we're like 1.5. now.
Does it matter?
Yeah, it doesn't matter. You're still, you know, you're meat shields at worst.
Yeah.
I mean, you can see his point of view there.
Oh no, I see his point of view.
Yeah.
Like, dude, I'd kick his ass too. I'd probably stop.
Because I can see it as once Whiplash learned that, hey, there's a spiral hive and that's what we're going to go do now. We're finally doing our jobs. That's why we're here. He got excited. Mm-hmm. I can imagine that that happening.
Well, to have that recon to go, okay, well, it's not our main thing. It's not related to our main, but it's something we can do.
Yep.
Instead of standing here with our thumbs up our asses, waiting for a couple of ragabashes or whatever to come back with some news. This is a waste of our time and skill.
So since the vicious beating didn't happen,
Right.
I do like the line that he said. I'm hoping you'll read it in his voice too.
Okay. Is that it? Is that what you want to do? Maybe hear a bedtime story where the men take all the glory and honor?
It's perfect. I mean, that's still Whiplash.
Yep.
Yeah.
And like it's to you guys, not to him.
Right.
You know, is that what it's going to be? Is it nap time?
But we already chose to go anyway.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I on one hand, I'm glad you didn't go that direction as far as beating the shit out of him. As far as Whiplash beating the shit out of Wahaya.
But if we ran that now, I expect that.
Yes. But
Well,
exactly my
now,
point.
yeah.
Now is a different story. And like you and I were talking on the phone about it, and I was like, oh my God, that's amazing.
Right? Like, what a great moment.
Yeah.
And then,
But because you knew Whiplash.
Yeah.
We didn't
Not
know
only that,
Whiplash
she
yet.
also knew the World of Darkness. We were brand
yeah,
new.
brand
Right.
new.
And I'm like, yeah, man, have blood spraying everywhere. Like,
And just go into it,
Yeah.
you know? And the
It's-
implication of all of this, and holy shit, this is great. And I can't tell them this story.
yeah.
I can't include it.
Because we had no idea.
It's my favorite moment, and it can't air.
And I loved
Sucker
it.
punched so hard the occipital bone caved in a little bit. How about that? Yeah.
He's put his head in the fire, and
Oh. Ow.
he's gonna murder this man. Like, they're gonna have to pull him off.
Oh, yeah.
He wasn't gonna stop.
No. Like, people had to jump in and, like, hold Whiplash, like, pull him back.
And like when you told me that, I was shocked because obviously Wyatt was trained by his elders.
Yeah,
Like, I don't understand why he doesn't look up to him. At first, when he told me, I was like,
Sure.
But then obviously I know Whiplash's background and blah, blah, blah. I just
Yeah,
know
there's-
how Whiplash is.
right. There's a lot of moving parts there. In fact, you know, Wahaya was trained by those guys before that sept was established.
It's true. Yeah, 40 years old. Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay, so then we go into the attack.
So yeah, so now we've
So
the
this
war
is-
party is convened. We attack at dawn or midnight or whatever.
So this is kind of the real meat of the story. This is the action portion.
This is the action, and I don't see it here.
I think I know what you're talking about.
Danny's got a thing.
Because you were leaning on heavy a few times as far as litany, because we were told you guys found it, you take point, and I got really excited. So we go to do it,
Yes.
and Whiplash grabs my shoulder and goes, "Ha, yeah, right, kid."
Yeah, we're just kidding. Get the fuck back.
Yeah,
No, I was about to say that too because I don't have it scripted.
I was okay.
It's not in here.
I remember it so vividly too.
You guys get the van. You found it.
Yeah.
No,
you
no,
take
fucking-
point. I was like, oh, this is going to be awesome. At this point,
Or you are the cannon fodder.
Yeah, but at that point...
You a freaking bullet catcher? Like, what are you doing?
Don't shoot till you see the whites of their eyes.
But I we didn't know at that point, and I think it was very, very recent that we established that I was going to be alpha. I didn't want it.
I don't know if it was established yet, or was
No.
it just kind of you were doing
That didn't
it?
happen until the next Chronicle, when it got established, I think.
Well, okay, when we finally decided.
Yeah.
Yeah, because there was a lot of...
A lot of moving parts.
Because as
Right.
of right now, Mr. Bonar would probably be our alpha,
Yeah, he was.
since he's babysitting
Well,
us.
and it
Yeah.
was still the third game.
Yeah.
You know, you guys said you were in, but I didn't write it.
Yeah, are
You know what I mean?
you?
I wrote it all to be a 4-part thing,
Yeah.
so it wasn't like, well, I'm going to wait till part 3 or till part 2's over to write part 3. Not behind schedule like I am now.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Like this shit was all ready.
Right.
I wrote this in like 2 sittings, maybe.
Nice.
That's what I mean. Like, you were putting pieces here and there for Litany, because, that was one of them.
It was something to teach while you're playing.
Right. What is it? Which one's that one?
I don't know, Philodex.
I'm trying to remember the exact words.
Well, try.
Highest
Rod.
of station. The first kill goes to highest of station.
Okay.
Yeah, I remember because I had all I wrote all the tenets of the litany down, and I was trying to remember them at that point. Like, okay, if I'm going to be the Philodox,
Well, it's important.
this is probably shit I need to remember.
It's the shit
Yeah.
you're judged on, so yeah.
So that was one of those things, and then I was like, and then he grabbed me and threw me back. I was like, yeah, that's because of the tenant. Damn it.
But I liked that moment.
Yeah.
This is a little fucking with you moment. But also, deeper than that, there was a little bit of a sign of respect there. It was a nod to the fact that you didn't elect to stay back.
Yes.
I mean, if you'd have said, no, we want to hear more about the Umbra or whatever,
You
or
would've
tell
let
us
do
about
it.
Cricket Wormphone the Death Bear, that would have been the story.
You would have.
The rest of
let us do it.
Yeah, of course. The rest of this would have just fucked off. It all would have happened,
But you guys wouldn't have seen it.
Right. You'd have seen them come back later, and no one there would have had any respect for you.
And someone.
Awesome.
Yeah. Well,
Well,
because I think the fight is kind of. This is going to be a little bit important because there's some shit happening in this fight.
let's talk about the fight then.
Yeah, sorry. We keep going off. But this shit's fun, all right? Remembering
Yeah.
this is good.
I'm just saying,
Why
stop,
we kept going.
stop teasing the patrons. Talk about the fight.
All right. Well,
All right.
I really can't because we were thrown in the back, and at that point, it was just little scene after little scene after little scene.
Well, and this is a thing, and we haven't touched down on this yet, have we?
I don't know.
Maybe if
About these little combat vignettes.
if you did, it's very, very subtle. You haven't done very much.
Talk about it for the people.
Okay. Well, all right, and there's a little bit of backstory here. Is it the end of the Virginia games, and this was the chronicle I wasn't telling because I was burned the fuck out.
Right.
The interim storyteller, he said, I want to have an attack on the cairn. So I want to end the chronicle. And so we worked on that. We wrote it together. And we, had our list of who's going to live, who's going to die, what's going to happen. I mean, we choreographed this fucking story
Right.
to, like, the beat, man. It was crazy. But we decided that when these characters were going to die, we were going to flash over to these moments, showcasing the character, give them their little moment in the sun as they went out.
Their blaze of glory.
Yeah,
The problem with that is,
right. What's the problem with that?
anytime you have a vignette on a character from that moment forward, you know they're gonna die.
Right? That works once.
Yes.
And then it's a bummer because then you're just waiting to hear about the character being dead. So, what we did was we gave every character a little vignette.
Okay.
So every
Every
character got a
character in
blaze
that
of
cairn
glory.
attack had a moment, whether they lived or died. And what this did was it helped showcase what the hell else was going on around the battlefield.
Because battlefields are chaos.
Right. And so, hey, look, here's a little paragraph of what Dead Man Dempsey's doing. And
Not only are you doing your thing,
But-
but there's 50 other things happening right now.
right, and right now where you are in the battle, Dempsey's in eyesight.
Yeah.
So you took your turn, and now you see what Dempsey did. And it was really well received. So I do that now. Not always.
But enough.
Hopefully not too much.
No,
that's usually perfect.
Yeah.
And so what you're seeing here in the script is you're seeing these asides for everybody. And I felt that was important to do for this story because this is your first time seeing like proper gyro combat.
Yeah, definitely.
All right.
So what are these people capable of? What are you guys eventually going to be capable of? Let's see, you know.
I mean, yeah, because you threw our player turns in there.
Yes.
Like, and you peppered them in there, but like, even though these are we got 3 paragraphs there, I almost want you to read these. How good these are.
Well, the first one's about Bangarang, so.
I almost want you to do it. All
And I
3 of
mean,
them.
it's just 1 paragraph each. One for Bangarang, one
Well,
for
then
Butchers, and
but then again,
one
you
for
peppers
Doc.
us in there.
Yep.
So
Right.
then there's Jude,
But I like how Bangarang,
and then there's Whiplash.
his brass knuckles are sparking wildly like down power lines. I really like that.
Thank you. Yeah.
And that's a fetish.
Yep.
Okay.
And it was just something I thought it would be cool if he had.
Yeah. And I mean, brass knuckles really aren't
Yeah. Who would do that?
utilized
No.
in game.
You have claws. The fuck you need?
Right?
But it seemed like such a glasswalker fucking thing to do.
Yeah.
You know?
And
Yeah, that's true.
I really like in the 3rd paragraph the typo.
Oh, yeah, I don't have that typo on mine.
Oh yeah, Herculean size. Wow. That's pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah, Doc, someone put an eye in there instead.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
Despite his Herculean size, Dick struggles against... Whoa! The next words are, let's go to the videotape.
Yeah.
Oh boy. It made reading it fun and interesting.
Well,
So, okay. We have the player's turn, then we have a paragraph on Jude, and then it says,
well, it's not a paragraph. It's what Jude's turn was.
right. But,
Right.
like, we roll for initiative. So are you just moving those paragraphs around to where you need them to be?
Pretty much.
Okay.
The idea is I don't want to bog it down too much.
Gotcha.
You know, you want to keep things moving, but you want to color the battlefield. You know, it's like you want your cake, you gotta eat it too.
okay.
You gotta find the balance on the
That's a really
fly.
good way to put it, man. Color the battlefield. Because that's exactly
He's
what
got to
we
Bob
did.
Ross the battlefield.
I am
He's
gonna
got to
Bob
put in his
Ross.
happy trees.
That's right.
Yeah, I'm looking at it. You got Bangarang with the brass knuckles, sparking like a down power line. There's an attack.
I'll read one.
Okay.
You guys can tell me the one.
I vote for the Whiplash one.
Yeah,
Oh, page 4.
page 4.
Page 4.
Oh, this is happening anyway.
Oh, okay.
This is a plot point.
Well, I was gonna. Well, yeah. Okay, then maybe don't read Whiplash. Maybe save that one for last.
Yeah, we'll talk. This one we will talk about because it's a past
Oh,
one.
okay. Okay.
But if there's any of the others,
Well, maybe stuff because look, some of them weren't like the great thing they did. It's what happened to him. Like look, Butchers in the Shadows, right?
all right.
He lost. His arm was severed.
Yes. Well, yeah, one of the sparrows rushes to Butcher's in the shadows, intent on revenge. His claws rake across Butcher's back as the Shadow Lord falls to a knee. Whiplash grabs the spiral at the throat and the wrist as Dempsey, not to be outdone, clasps the foe's other wrist. The worm spawn cries in pain as the 2 warriors pull. Whiplash's grip holds out over the bone and sinew as he rips the spiral's arm clean off its body. The fetter behemoth roars in victory as he pummels the wounded beast with its own arm.
Fantastic.
This is my club now.
Right?
Well, you know.
I like that it's kind of Whiplash's signature move.
Quit hitting yourself. Quit hitting yourself.
Right?
Right?
No, because then you have Jude's in there too, and
This little
Jude
clave
ma-
scar.
yeah, Jude, you made a big scene with him with his because of his grand clave, really.
Yep. But then we get into a moment.
Yes.
And, another spiral leaps toward Butcher's in the shadows in lupus form. Catching the Thurge off guard, he clamps down on the Butcher's clave arm, severing it cleanly. Shifting to Kranos, he rolls, throwing the clave at Crimson Ghost. Whiplash charges, knocking Ghost out of the way. Turning to dodge himself, he doesn't have enough time. Raising his hands to block the incoming blade in his face, the blade gets caught in his hand, half severing it. He turns to face you, pulling the blade away, his eyeball stuck to the tip of the blade.
Yikes.
And Whiplash lost that eye.
Yes.
Because that was after the wound to his hand.
Well, and, the healing factor has to choose.
Yep. It saved the arm, not the eye.
Right.
And the eye got plucked out right there as he pulled the...
Yeah.
What's he going to do? The hand would be okay.
Right.
Eventually. Because it's like, what would I say? And hopefully it you saw it.
Mm-hmm.
But, it's like...
Yeah.
It's a vertical cut at that point. It's like the space between the two fingers is just like way longer. Instead of horizontal. So he still had the hand. It was just kind of a V now. you can save that.
Yeah.
That eye was fucked.
Right.
So Whiplash lost an eye, saving the life of Crimson Ghost. Story 3.
Yep.
You owe that man a lot.
I don't know shit.
All right,
Try
Charlie
telling
Murphy.
him that.
Charlie Murphy.
And then there's another little, parentheses where it says player's turn.
Yep.
Yeah,
And
he like I said, he peppered us in there.
yeah.
So we each had our own little quote unquote moment.
And then we've got Ron Day Tripper.
Yeah.
And, we love Ron, but, this is where he's doing his Kylindo, up, down, shift around.
Yeah, his faux Kylindo.
Yeah.
Up, down, down, left, right, A, B, select start.
Ron
Sure.
Daytripper moves like a prize fighter, always on the balls of his feet. He zigs and zags between the two spirals he fights. They struggle to get the best of him to no avail. They leap high and low, trying for pincer attacks. Still, Daytripper evades, shifting seemingly at random between the 5 forms. He tags them both with superficial claws until he can get one of them gets the better of him, clawing deeply into his side. He roars fiercely, shifting from Glabber to Kraus, and dashes for the one who hit him, only to seemingly trip, hitting the dirt violently.
Ron Day Tripper.
Trip to his friends.
Trip, bastard.
Yeah. Somebody can't make a run roll.
That's right. And it's actually a deeper story than that.
Right.
It started as the original player of the character had this affinity for failing run rolls.
Really had an affinity.
I think in like 6 years he made 2 of them.
Wow.
Yeah.
So his lower half was all scar tissue.
Wow.
Grenades, pools of blood, severed body parts, his own feet, shoelaces, curbs.
Curbs.
Yeah. Like this character
Rock.
could not run.
If it existed, he tripped over it.
Good lord.
I believe the character's original name, and I used quotes around original.
Well, it was...
It became runs like legless dog.
Yeah, Ron runs like legless dogs. we were like 14. I
Yes.
just want that out there.
But it was truthful.
Right. And so what I did, because, again, it was, sometimes these players, they leave or things happen and some of these characters get retired and converted into NPCs.
And you've taken some of my characters and made them NPCs. It's kind of an honor.
Well, thank you. And, I always do work on them. I don't just steal the character. And so like
You
in
make it
Ron's
your own.
case, I do make them my own. In Ron's case, what I wanted to do, because the Silent Howl in my normal canon is a very famous pack. They're world travelers. They've done a lot of shit. Everyone knows or has heard about the Silent Howl.
Yep.
So Ron has a problem. It's a flaw. He only fox frenzies.
Okay.
And you can see how that could be an issue in the
It's
battlefield.
a problem.
Right. So what eventually ended up happening, to you can't fix it, but to mitigate it, they had the Alpha Segment Rainmaker come up with a little fetish, a little anklet he wears, a little ankle bracelet, that will fuck with his equilibrium the more his rage takes over.
Okay.
So it stops him from frenzying,
So
or if he does
if
frenzy.
if he frenzies, his legs stop working entirely,
Nifty little trinket.
so he can't run away. Because what's worse than waking up across state lines while your friends are probably getting killed right the hell now?
Right.
Yeah. Fox frenzying sucks.
And which is why in that little bit you saw he's ducking and weaving, haha, this is all a big joke, until he gets tagged
He gets pissed off.
He switched to Kratos because he got angry, and
And
boom.
boom, hit the ground.
Yep. So he's got to keep his cool in combat, or he'll,
He'll bite the dirt.
Literally.
Yep.
So,
Okay.
So that battle's won.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, the bottom line is, the battle is won. They go home victorious. Woo.
And then the script flips to the next day. So, is the rest of that evening, was that like sandbox time?
I think there was a little sandbox, but I don't know if there. I don't know if there was. I think it was just you went home and you reveled.
Yeah.
Everyone's like, yeah, here's some booze, not an actual Canaan revel,
Right,
But like
right.
you celebrated.
Okay.
Dempsey passed the flask along, and hooray, you did a thing. Look at that, you're a real man now. You bled a little.
Oh.
You popped your cherry crimson ghost. Good work, kind of thing.
Phrasing.
No, that was. Yeah, it was congratulations.
Yeah.
You did a thing. You're an adult. You're all grown up, kinda.
You've made it through a rite of passage. It's not your rite of passage anymore. You actually did a thing, which was because rite of passage is probably baby shit compared to what you just did.
Yeah, I mean,
But there's still more shit to do.
Yeah, you guys.
Celebrate while you can.
welcome
But-
to Guru life.
Exactly.
There's more shit to do.
Exactly, but you did it. You proved that you weren't useless.
Yeah.
You proved that you weren't cowards.
That sat by the fire.
Right?
But now I'm going to go sleep by the fire.
Well, certainly. But you know what? You earned it. Now you can take a nap. It's time for Betty Bye around the fire.
Yay.
Because you earned it.
That's the larger part, yeah.
And then it says the next day, and then Cagebreaker has some knowledge to drop.
Right, because as promised, he knows where it is. And he talks about that everyone was looking in the wrong spot. That a few hours northeast of the town was Longburn Caverns, which was like a little tourist spot, caverny. Let's take a trip into the caves, everybody. Mm-hmm. Where this thing has been, what is it? A natural cavern system, big tourist attraction until it closed down 6 months ago. Instability.
Instability, huh?
Thing is, they don't advertise about it in town because they know the townies know and don't care. I could take you in, but we're not going in, not alone. I still don't know what this is, And now there's a section here that I know we have to address
Okay.
afterwards, and it's I go into a graveyard issue, and I bring in some of my very favorite things.
Oh, skull
pigs?
pigs.
Skull pigs. I desperately wanted you guys to encounter some skull pigs.
We do eventually, just not now.
Right, but I love my skull pigs, and it's a dangerous foe. They're incredibly clever. I love skull pigs.
Maybe that's why we didn't do it. That's why we
We
didn't
already
do
had a
it.
big combat, I'm sure.
Right. I believe we had to cut this for time,
Okay.
and then once we did, I decided to cut it entirely and not come about it, not to bring it up the next game.
Bummer.
I remember especially in those early games when
We were on time limits.
not everyone's significant others were.
Well, no, I don't think it was. I think it was just everything took so long. It was like 11 o'clock at night by the time we hit here.
Yeah, it was.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it was a
And we
later.
had already been there for 10 hours.
At least.
Yeah, it was a long day, definitely. So I feel strongly it was cut for time. I was gonna have you guys, he was gonna lead you there. He was gonna go through the graveyard where these skull pigs had been, just by coincidence. There's Banes, there's bad shit. The skull pigs found this old graveyard.
It's
skull
the world
pigs
of
eat carrion.
darkness.
Yeah, it was just a good place for them to fucking hang out.
Right?
They were gonna kill Cagebreaker.
The skull pigs
The
were?
skull pigs were gonna kill Cagebreaker.
Jesus.
That was my plan.
Okay.
It's a good thing we didn't run that, huh?
Got cut. So,
So you had to come up with something.
well, and you see the rest of it's still there.
Mm-hmm.
But the story concluded with everyone. You guys are still at the camp. And Ron tells a tale of the Silent Howl and how great they are, because again, I'm building that world around you guys.
Right.
You guys have decided you wanted to play. We're gonna keep going with this now. So it's important to keep building that world. They're famous. They're great. I have to prove it.
Right, right.
Yeah.
You can't just take that on word. And
Which I think we did anyway, but.
but
You didn't know any better.
true.
Yeah, true.
And so Ron's telling a tale of an encounter with a Nexus crawler. which was unrelated to the sandcastle one.
Okay.
I still love that
Yeah.
one.
That's
though.
still a good one.
Yeah, those of you who weren't there that one day, at one point, Segment Rainmaker killed a
Nexus crawler.
with a sandcastle. Mm-hmm. Not that story though. This was their first encounter with a crawler. Look,
Mull that over.
they're a fart in the wind
sandcastle.
away from rank 4, dude.
I know. They could be rank 4.
Yes, they could. Just
Not motivated.
Just don't
irresponsibility is the reason.
Yep.
Yeah,
But
that's good, yeah. Good point.
so they're telling the story, and Sage did this, he can't it, and he's telling the story, and then Wahaya starts screaming. He's been meditating the other side of the fire the whole time. He starts screaming, "Roll tick thaka, roll tick thaka, roll tick thaka." Passes out. To be continued.
Yeah. Whenever you do that, too, that's how we know it's to be continued. He just stops what he's doing, closes his boards up, and that's it.
Yep.
Just puts him down, face down, and then
Mull
crosses
that
his
over.
arms.
It's just basically a mull that over, bitches.
Yep, there you go. Take that. How you like me now, motherfucker? Well, I used to back in the day, we'd play by candlelight and blow out a candle. It's just some sort of physical symbol of
No, it makes
we're
sense.
done.
That's a cool idea, too. But still, yep, game's over.
Well, we have electricity now, so
We're not Amish anymore.
It's so cold.
it's gonna feed that
So
fucking.
cold.
Just feeding that vampire theory.
I was about to say that. It's my over shaking my head.
Suck it, Charybdis.
He's still a vampire.
Blah.
Dracula.
Not Count Chocula vampire.
Dracula. It's Dracula's.
Gets right. Dracula's.
But hey, good way to end this, too. Right on that note.
All right.
Yeah.
I mean, well,
awesome.
no. Thoughts?
Oh, darn.
Oh, what the hell kind of postmortem is it that way?
Yeah.
Good thoughts as we went.
Yeah, I mean, he's right.
And I mean, I kind of love it when you just you close the book and it's the end. But it's a to be
But
continued.
it's the end? Question mark?
But it's not the end because it's never the end.
Well, so clearly the answer is no. Exclamation point.
Right, but that's how the game you're getting today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is all I have for you.
Never the end. It's to be continued.
And, I mean, I can't wait till next recording session.
Conclusion.
When we do part 4 next month.
Yeah, that'll be, that is the end of that chronicle, and
A continued foreshadowing for the rest of our fucking lives.
well, things happen, decisions get made,
Yep.
and you talk about my foreshadowing. You guys make a call in that story that makes the next chronicle possible.
Right.
Something you didn't expect.
Something I absolutely did not expect. I was a little irked about it at the time.
Yeah, you expected us to go one way and we went the other.
Yep, and
Didn't know your players yet.
no, I didn't. But
Well, and it's story 3 and story 4. So.
right, so you guys didn't know your characters that well, but
I think, at the same time, he knew me enough. And I think that's what he was leaning on. But he didn't know the other two of the group.
well, we'll get to it next month. But you guys did make a decision that
And
changed everything.
Yeah, because I went the other way because they wanted to. I went with majority rules.
Well, it changed the future.
All
Only
for
for
the
a
better.
chronicle.
And
Yeah.
there wouldn't have been a guilty.
It's true. I wouldn't have been able to poop on a story.
I mean,
Okay.
that's fair.
Fair?
Weirdo.
I guess if that's all everyone has.
Yeah, yeah.
Unless you got something. Because I enjoyed these. These are so much fun reliving these. And if we just keep going to all of our stories, imagine us catching up.
Oh, that'll happen.
Eventually,
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
I'm excited for that.
I'm
Just 'cause
excited.
of how slowly we game at this point
Right.
with everything else we're doing.
I'm excited for the guilty to get
Oh,
into
yeah.
that.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm really expected to hear some awesome insights from you guys during that, because you can look. I mean, this was a 4-parter to see if this was dipping our toes in
Yeah.
the water,
and to see our reactions now.
right?
In just something like this. Yeah.
To where I know the guilty. You guys loved the guilty.
Yep.
I was very proud of the guilty. So I think we're gonna have a lot more to say about those. I hope,
Probably.
and that's gonna be really cool.
Yeah, yeah.
You know,
I can't wait to get to the guilty.
yes, it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
You know, this
Yeah, you
this
helped co-write that.
yeah. Well, Joey has been my AST for years. You know, if I get
Eons.
Decades.
This is a vampire reference again.
oh boy. Well, no, you know,
Yeah.
we've talked about it before. You know,
Oh, God,
bouncing
yeah.
ideas off of, and you know, sometimes. I mean, you ghost wrote for me that one time, but
Made the whole pack cry.
yeah, made,
Yeah.
Luckily, not our pack.
made a group
I
of
don't
adults
think
want to kill themselves. Good job.
Yeah, thankfully not our pack, because I don't think
Yeah,
I would.
no.
I would feel the same about Joey if she did that to us.
But yeah, I think it's one of the best pieces I think I've written
Yeah,
over the years.
yeah.
And that'll be great. But this one was just, you know, it was a 4-parter. Get everyone's toes in the water. I got to try some things I've never done. I got to be a bit self-indulgent. I mean, you look at the NPCs; those are just like all of my favorite,
Exactly.
or most of my. Because why not? Fuck it.
Yeah, because
I might never play a game of Werewolf again at this point. You know, at that point in my life.
Yeah.
You guys could have said I don't like this, and that'd have been my last Werewolf game. So fuck it, I'll be self-indulgent.
I think you had every right to be.
So, you know, I mean, I want our Patreons to stick around and see chapter 4.
Absolutely, I want you to stick around and see all of them. Keep giving us money so we can do this for you.
Right?
What an asshole.
Jeez.
I'll fix it.
Of all the ways to choose to say that.
I will
Give
fix
me your
it
money
in
and I'll give you
editing.
the thing.
Why would the Patreon rewards be the one you start to fix?
Because they pay for this shit. I care about them.
Yeah, but they know goddamn well I'm choosing the worst way to say it.
Yeah.
It's part of why they tune in.
Is it though?
30 ways I could have said that I chose the shittiest one.
And that's why we love you.
Well, thank you. And you know,
So Patreons, thank you, because this has been fun, and
We'll see you next month.
see you next time. Yeah.
see you next time, guys, and take care.